Rodolfo Anaya was raised in Santa Rosa, New Mexico. His father was a vaquero from a family of cattle workers. His mother's family was composed of farmers from Puerto de Luna. In the book Bless Me Ultima, Antonio's family is very closely based on Rodolfo's own family. When Rodolfo was about 15 years old, he had a terrible swimming accident that left him temporarily paralyzed and gave him time and cause to consider many philosophical questions about life and human existence, just as Antonio does, but at a much younger age. After graduating from high school, Rodolfo enrolled in the University of New Mexico to study English, where he received his Bachelor of Arts degree in English. He later came back and earned his Master of Arts degree in Literature. He began writing Bless Me Ultima in 1963. He then completed it and published it by Quinto Sol in 1972. Quinto Sol quickly published the book after awarding it the Premio Quinto Sol in 1971 for Best Novel Written by a Chicano. Anaya uses a lot of descriptive writing, uses literary devices such as metaphors and imagery, and uses a lot of analogies as well. He also incorporates philosophical views and thoughts into his characters, like when his characters think, is there a God? And if there is he evil? Or why does he not punish those who are bad and punish those who are good? This contributes to the work as a whole because it entertains the reader. It not only creates an image in their brain, but it also gets them thinking about all of these things on their own. Some of the themes that showed up in the novel were the importance of moral independence. Antonio's struggle to reconcile the complexity of his experiences with his religion leads him to conclude that he must make his own decisions. He becomes more and more frustrated with the Church's failure to explain the most pressing questions about morality and human existence. Another theme that showed up frequently in the novel is the influence culture has on identity. Antonio's parents each have their own cultural traditions that they both try to force onto Antonio. Another conflict is that of indigenous and Spanish cultures. There's so much tension between Ultima's mysterious magic and the Catholic Church that people in town start calling Ultima a witch. The motifs present in the novel are Antonio's dreams. In the dreams, Antonio wonders about his destiny, and if he will become a vaquero or a priest, and whether he will please his father or his mother. Another motif is family. Many of his family members seek to define his future, especially his uncles, who argue whether he will become a priest or a vaquero. Many symbols appear in Bless Me Ultima, one of them being the golden carp. The carp represents a religious order not connected to Catholicism. The carp supports the idea that every tradition offers different but equally valid lessons about the world. Another symbol is Ultima's owl. This represents her life force and the power of her religious mysticism. The Virgin of Guadalupe is another symbol. This symbolizes forgiveness and understanding. She is the resolution to cultural conflict. Some memorable quotes that I took out of Bless Me Ultima are, "For what you have said to shame my daughters and my good name in front of those men, I will see you dead." And this is what Tenorio says to Ultima, chapter 10, page 415. Another quote that stood out to me is, "It is because good is always stronger than evil. Always remember that, Antonio. The smallest bit of good can stand against all the powers of evil in the world, and it will emerge triumphant." And this is Ultima talking to Antonio. The last quote really stood out to me because it was the last we heard of Ultima. So it starts with Antonio talking to Ultima. "Bless me, Ultima." Her hand touched my forehead, and her last words were, "I bless you in the name of all that is good and strong and beautiful. Antonio, always have the strength to live, love life, and if despair enters your heart, look for me in the evenings when the wind is gentle and the owls sing in the hills. I shall be with you." This was chapter 22, page 261. An AP student could use this novel to help them respond to the question 3 prompt that asks something about inner conflict, because Antonio's struggling with inner conflict about his destiny and his future and what it will be. Could also answer something about colliding cultures, because Antonio's constantly struggling with his identity, given that his parents are trying to force their own traditions and cultures onto him. Or something about the innocence of a child that shapes the novel, because Antonio is often referred to as pure or loss of innocence because Antonio's experience watching many people die or die in his arms as well. I really hope my book review has encouraged you to read Bless Me, Ultima.